This video is brought to you by GamerSubs. Use code MHB at checkout for 10% off your next order. I want to platinum every PS3 game I own, and, well, at this point I think you guys know the drill. I put all my PS3 games into a wheel, and one by one we're platinuming whatever the wheel lands on. We've platinumed 5 games so far, and all those videos are available in this playlist if you're new to the channel and need to catch up. This week, I'm still hoping for that longer, more chill experience, maybe an RPG or something like that, but as usual, I'll take whatever I can get. As always, if you do end up enjoying the content and want to see more like it, like the video, leave a comment, subscribe, and let's spin the wheel and see what we're platinuming this week. Alright, it's time to spin the PS3 randomizer once again, and at this point, I think you guys get the idea. If you're new here, you know, there's a playlist, you can catch up on all the previous episodes, but we get what we get, we don't get upset. Let's see what we're platinuming this week. And as long as it's not Call of Duty again, I should be okay. Ooh, okay, we're going back to Ratchet and Clank. I don't know much about Q-Force, I've got to be honest. I don't even know if it's called Q-Force everywhere. But, I mean, we'll see what we're dealing with. Because, again, I love Ratchet and Clank, but I don't know anything about this game. Back to some Ratchet & Clank action so soon. I really was not expecting that. But hey, I'm not complaining, as after the Modern Warfare 3 Platinum, I definitely am in need for a more chill Platinum experience. I won't re-explain my love for the Ratchet & Clank series. If you want to know my background with all of that, it's all in that first video, but in short, I'm a big fan. With that being said though, I've never played Q-Force, or as it's known in other countries, Full Frontal Assault. In fact, this whole era of Ratchet & Clank games after a crack in time, I've never played any of them, and I'll be honest, I really don't know what to expect with this game. I know it's more centered around co-op, which is why I sort of avoided these games initially. I now know Nexus isn't, but I thought it was back in the day since that seemed to be the new direction the series was going down. Anyway, back to Q-Force and what co-op adds and changes, what the story entails, if the game's any good, I just have no idea. But I'm excited to find out, and good or bad, we'll see what this game is all about and finally tick it off the backlog, starting with...
This is just sad.
When in doubt and with no fear of missable trophies in sight, you can't go wrong with just beating the game and seeing where the platinum takes you, especially when it's a game you've never played before. That way you get to experience the game for what it is and then worry about the trophies later. I should also mention there's only 23 trophies on offer here, so there's not a lot going on there anyway. So what's this game all about? Well, to be honest, at least in terms of the story, it's a big ol' nothing burger. Ratchet, Clank, and Quark are in the Q-Force, flying around searching for bad guys to stop when conveniently a villain appears and we need to stop him, which takes us across 5 levels and we're done. It seriously has so little story, it's actually impressive. I mean, they don't even try to hide how little they care, and this is a game that you can easily beat in 3 hours tops. However, the gameplay loop is something that does stop this from being just an outright terrible video game, keeping it to just a bad Ratchet & Clank game. Again, the focus is on co-op here, but I played it completely solo, no dramas, it just makes some things a bit quicker if you have a buddy. But the big gimmick in Q-Force is the tower defense core, and I actually enjoyed this addition quite a bit. It's nothing crazy, just build some turrets, walls, and mines to help protect your base while you go off and explore the level, grab more weapons, and destroy the enemy base. It's not complicated, but it gets the job done, and it helps make you want to keep playing these levels over and over again. See how different weapons work, how strong you can build your defenses, even how fast you can beat the levels. The levels thankfully are solid, and thank goodness, because we're gonna have to replay the levels at least one more time once we're done with the story mode. Again, trophy wise, there's not a lot on offer here, but I did get a few trophies for doing things like shattering 25 frozen enemies. Hey, crushed ice, hell yeah. Defeating a tank before it reaches our base. No thank you. Got all the bonuses on the hacking minigames 5 times in a row. Rack 'em and hack 'em. Purchased the 4 turret variants in a single level. A smorgasbord of destruction. And 3 trophies for beating the story. Alright, we're already on the board. Let's set up camp. As usual, do I know what these trophies are in the moment? No. Zergo's Revenge. Back to the basement, and that's the game. 5 levels. That is pathetic, man. And with that disappointment out the way, I seriously cannot believe how little effort the story portion got in this game. Let's focus on the trophies, because they do help up the fun factor of this game surprisingly.
This is just sad.
Now, there's a few things we need to work towards in this step, and hopefully we'll get the rest of the trophies along the way. We need to reach Master Rank, which just involves getting all 3 ribbons on each level, 1 for beating the level, 1 for beating the level with all generators intact, and 1 for beating the level in a certain amount of time. This also pairs together with our next objective, beating 3 out of the 5 developer times for these levels, which is much stricter and a whole lot easier with a friend, upgrading every weapon to level 3, and finally using the hover boots, sprinting and gliding for a while. And hopefully that's something that just happens by the time we're finishing up with the levels. But that's the main objective. Everything else should come along with that process or be easy enough to clean up afterwards. We don't need to worry about the gold bolts or the skill points, they are of no importance for this platinum. So I jump back into the first level with 2 things in mind. Beat the developer time and beat the level without using any base defenses. The no base defense was no worries. At this point our blaster was max leveled and that's all you need to beat this level. Defenseless, there we go. That's for not using any of the base building things, and I only used 1 weapon too, so not too shabby there. So let's talk about the developer times, because these are clearly designed around 2 players, but it's still possible to complete solo. You just have to have a very clear plan of attack. You don't really have time to and about where to go next. My advice, grab the pistol and hover boot to each objective, take out the enemies as fast as you can, and when you need to defend the base, that's when you can go and grab another weapon if need be, like the Groovatron or something else. Also, don't wait around and let the enemies come to you. You go out and get them first. If you do that, these times will be close, but you should be alright to get them. But bear in mind, the timer doesn't stop for the cutscenes, not even the ending ones, so be careful, otherwise you'll be like me and have to retry a level because you got exactly the dev time just by watching an overly long cutscene. While going for the speedruns, because that was really all I had left to do for the levels anyway, I did manage to destroy a total of 10 tanks. Piece through ridiculous firepower. I have no idea what that is, but I'll take it. Made every enemy type dance with the Groovatron. Intergalactic Dance Party. And earned the rank of Master. Q-Force Master. Before I finally grabbed the 3 dev times I needed. And if you're doing this solo, don't even bother attempting levels 4 and 5, they are too much for 1 player to do quickly. Over the top, alright, those are no jokes. Solo, they're a lot harder. Definitely, if you've got someone to play with, go do that. It would be so much easier. Doing this by yourself is hard. Editing Jimmy here, and this is why you don't script videos while you're sick, because I was about to skip over 3 more trophies. 1 for getting to the top of this weapon node without touching the moving platforms in Korgon Refinery. There we go. Hover boot madness. Let's go. 1 for using every weapon in the game at least once. Variety is the spice of life. And finally, for defeating 50 brawlers with our trusty wrench. Save ammo, smack a fool. Okay, back to the actual video. Now you may be thinking, okay, what's next if you've completed the levels? Well, we sort of just need to try and grind weapon XP and constantly be on the move to get our miles up. Honestly, it sounded pretty tedious, so I decided instead to tackle the online trophies, of which there's really only 1 where you'll need another player. You need to play a ranked match, and thankfully one of my channel mods, Zafado, had the game and was willing to help me out. All the multiplayer is your standard tower defense stuff. Grab weapons, build up your defenses, and attack the enemy base. I wasn't particularly interested in staying longer than I had to here, so Zafado let me quickly destroy his base, and that was the only online trophy done. Hero Academy, let's go. Alright, it's the only online trophy we need to worry about. Appreciate you, Zafado. Appreciate you. But we're not done with the multiplayer. From here I went into a custom match, played against nobody another 4 times, and got myself 2 more trophies for completing a custom match and playing 5 PvP matches. Custom job, alright, 4 more of those. Hey, cool. Fear does not exist. And then quickly loaded in a second controller to play some co-op for another trophy. Q-Force activate. I love when games do this. Like, why is there such a huge blank space here? And that was my little detour done and dusted, and it was time for some monotony. The weapon XP was the trophy left where you do actually have to put some effort in, unlike the traversal trophy. You need to hope you get the weapons you need early on, and some of the weapons I had left to level up were just so incredibly weak even for the first level. But I'll be honest, as tedious as it was to just play the levels for the sake of leveling up your weapons, I did enjoy utilizing the entire arsenal. It was fun, and while some of the weapons do start off weak, you do actually notice them becoming more and more useful. While I was grinding weapon levels, I did have one last miscellaneous trophy for having 8 bunnies dance on screen at once. It sounded complicated, but really it's just about getting a Transmorph mine and a Groovatron mine set up and hoping you can get the timing right. Thank you, that should be it. I don't want to hear nothing about it. I can see all my bunnies dancing. Thank you, a night at the mansion. Jeez-a-loo, man. But after about an hour of just weapon XP grinding, I got my final weapon to level 3, and all that was left was the traversal trophy. Ready for Armageddon. Whew. Alright, now we just got this really annoying trophy left. By this point, I hadn't even reached 50 miles hoverbooted yet, and I needed 112 miles total. Thankfully, I did have the run portion done, and the glide portion doesn't take too long either, but the hover boots were the issue, and so I got out the rubber band because I wasn't going to sit there for hours just traversing the levels, and just went and did something else until the hover boots were finished, so I could glide around for a little bit, and finally the trophy popped along with the platinum, and Ratchet Clank Q-Force was done. Yes, Iron Madman! And the Collector, oh my goodness. Ratchet and Clank Q-Force is done. And yeah, I've just got to be honest, this is probably the worst Ratchet and Clank game I've ever played. So, would I recommend you play and platinum Ratchet and Clank Q-Force or Full Frontal Assault? Yeah, this is another no from me. 6 games deep so far, and I've said no to half the games. What is going on? Granted, the game as a whole did grow on me with time. In the beginning, I thought this was straight garbage, but it's just a game. I don't know why they bothered making it. It doesn't seem like there was any effort or care put in here. The story stinks, the story mode is super short, I mean only 5 levels is crazy, and it just doesn't feel like a Ratchet and Clank game for the most part. It feels so unlike Ratchet and Clank, I still can't believe Insomniac actually made this game. You can still have some fun here, it's not all doom and gloom, but it's not an experience I'd go out of my way for. In terms of the platinum, it's a super easy one, you know, 10 hours tops, probably the only real test being the speedrun trophies. But yeah, a very disappointing game that whether you're a fan or not, I'd just steer clear of. Thank you so much for watching. If you made it this far into the video, make sure to leave a comment with, what were they thinking? To let me know that you made it to the end. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to like and subscribe. Leave a comment below and let me know which PS3 games you hope the wheel lands on next, or any games to potentially add to the wheel. Shout out to the channel members for that extra level of support, and special thanks to members of the Bear Club, Scott Unwin, Steel Vanguard, A It's Grey J, Dark Wolf, Zafado, Lug Knights, Golden Sparrow, Lord Alex, Kuzma, Jarvis McGee, and G&T Papi. Thank you all, and I'll catch you in the next one, hopefully over this flu by then.